Hey everybody, in this video we got Tim Miller of The Bulwark is talking about JD Vance lying, but I know that you will be shocked. Let's take a look at this together. I want to chime in with my thoughts as we go, and then I want to know what you think in the comments, but let's roll it.
Hey y'all, our Vice President, JD Donald Vance, is playing the pretend victim again on social media to try to torque people. And this one is one of the more abominable efforts yet. Yesterday, he was in Cincinnati at home where he went out for a walk. He said, he called it while walking my 3-year-old daughter. It's kind of a weird turn of phrase. He said a group of Slava Ukraini, scare quotes, protesters followed us around and shouted as my daughter grew increasingly anxious and scared. Something to be worried about, I guess. He said he decided to speak with the protesters in the hopes that he could trade a few minutes of conversation. Nearly all of them agreed. And then he said it was a mostly respectful conversation, but if you're chasing a 3-year-old as part of a political protest, you are a shit person. Gotta tell you, JD, once again, every accusation is a confession, and you are the shit person in this case. A few examples that I'd like to point to. First and foremost, it is the people of Ukraine that are suffering right now, the 3-year-olds in Ukraine that are suffering. JD Vance and his daddy, Donald Trump, paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine because of the temper tantrum that they had in the White House. And the ramifications of this have been unbelievable. I did a interview with Caitlin Robertson from Kyiv, right here on this YouTube page. You should go check out if you missed it. Just a very alarming report. And here we've got the Institute for the Study of War, just talking about all the ways in which Russia intensified their campaign, all of the damage that was done, the deaths as a result of Ukraine not having the intelligence they needed to repel bombs, to know where the Russian military units are, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I think the person that sums this up best is Roman Sheremetyev. I saw this on Twitter, and he wrote, "I hope JD Vance watches this video, because JD Vance complained that his 3-year-old daughter was scared by a group of protesters shouting Slava Ukraini, but the girl in this video lost her leg due to a Russian attack. Yet she continues to smile and continues to live." Heartbreaking, but beautiful. What a beautiful little girl. And this is what we're talking about. JD thinks he's playing some internet game where he's like, oh, I'm going to, own the libs by, trying to use my daughter as a shield. Well, unfortunately, he's taken away the shield that protected girls like his in Ukraine, and for no reason. There's no reason we couldn't be sharing intelligence with Ukraine right now.
Well, there is a reason, and the reason is that we have sided with Putin and Russia.
We're just doing it because ostensibly Trump and Vance have decided that they are on Russia's side of this conflict.
Yeah.
Moreover, just a couple other things I'd like to flag. It was just a couple weeks ago when Ro Khanna brought up his children. He made an appeal to JD Vance and said, you might remember all of these big MAGA accounts, including Elon Musk, were attacking Indians on H-1B visas. JD Vance's wife is Indian, so his children are Indian American. And Ro Khanna had tweeted, essentially saying, we should condemn this on behalf of our children. JD called that emotional manipulation, then said that Ro was hiding behind the kids and he was committing emotional manipulation. And here he is, just shamelessly doing the exact same fucking thing. Well, not the exact same fucking thing, actually. Here he is just a few weeks later, using actual emotional manipulation, on behalf of his really shameful abdication of the people of Ukraine. Lastly, I know you've been waiting for this one. The video came out. And like I said, frankly, if JD Vance and his child were walking down the street and there were Ukrainian protesters shouting at them from across the street, as long as they're not targeting the child, saying anything about the child, right? I think that when you become the vice president, you assent to the fact that people in a free country are going to yell at you when you do really unconscionable things. So I would have been okay with even the situation as JD described it, honestly. But the actual situation, we can watch here, and we'll just play a couple of clips from it. It goes on for about 3 minutes, but as you can see, this is not people chasing him down, chasing down his daughter.
What we're doing is we're actually forcing a diplomatic settlement. If you talk to Joe
nobody in Ukraine benefits.
No
What about the Revolutionary War?
Do you think Russia can be diplomatic?
Very rules about the United States.
Did you
This-
prove
and this-
yes, the ally?
And this is about a separate country, and I don't think our investment in that country can go on indefinitely. I understand the disagree.
Now is you're forcing to settle.
We're forcing both the Russians and the Ukrainians.
One of those protesters, Ann Henry, talked to WCPO News in Cincinnati and said this is just all lies. Nobody was chasing him. She says it's a complete fabrication. So Jesse Vance there just makes up a fake story to play the victim. The other interesting thing from that clip is one of the back and forths was one of the protesters sounded like a woman was yelling that Russia's always the aggressor. I think she mentions Crimea, a couple other examples.
Ukraine in 2022.
And
But there needs to be a settlement. Ma'am?
They are the aggressor every time.
Ma'am, I understand that that's your view, and certainly they have, and certainly I have condemned, ma'am.
And JD's like, well, that's your opinion.
This is something that you hear a lot. It goes right to this idea of alternate facts. So like, well, everybody, you see it different ways, and that's your right as an American. No, a fact is a fact. And I think we can look at history with open eyes, and we can look at Russian aggression with open eyes and not fall into this, well, I guess maybe that's his opinion.
I love how even in these encounters, JD cannot just acknowledge that Russia is the bad guy, and they're consistently the bad guy, and they are the ones that have been infringing on other people's territory. He has to continue to keep up this possibility that they were baited or whatever to appeal to the Tucker Carlson conspiracy wing. So there you go. That is our vice president. That's what he did this weekend, I guess. Shit posted. We'll be back here for more. Subscribe to the feed. We'll see you soon.
But what I can't get my head around, and what nobody's been able to explain satisfactorily to me yet, is why? Why are we aligning ourselves with Russia, right? I mean, the facet of Trump wanting to be an autocrat, a la Viktor Orban, right? That makes sense to me. Why does he like other autocrats? Because he likes that there's nobody to push back on them, and he thinks, yeah, now that's how you rule a country, right? But what's this apparent alliance with Russia? I don't see the end game of it. Like, we're alienating our allies in Western Europe and around the world. We're cozying up to these dictators. To what end? It can't just be. He's got everybody on board, right? It can't just be that it's a personal preference of Trump. So what's the tat? We've got the tit. What's the tat? Let me know what you think in the comments.